that have been selected today out of 30. And of course, this is the place you want to be straight after the 3G Boss, because you'll be getting all the juicy gossip with me, Nadia Ali, and of course the candidates themselves. But today I'll be speaking to our judges and some special guests on the panel. Welcome to Behind the Scene. How are you?
Not so bad.
So this is literally where all the gossip's going to happen. This is where we get to talk about all the juicy stuff that you guys have been up to in the last few months working on the 3G Boss. So I'll start with Howard Dober, who's the MD of Canary Wharf Group and also the chief judge for the 3G Boss. How are you and how does it feel to have such a big title on the show?
It's great to see the young people up on the screen. There's so many talented young people that we saw. In fact, I was looking at some of the ones who didn't go through and thinking, I remember the ones that nearly got in and they were so good. So if they're watching, you were very close, and I'm sorry to see some of those people that are really talented not make it through to the final 12.
So is this the first reality show that you've actually been a part of? And I'm sure you've watched the first episode today. How did it feel for you saying, did you look, when you were watching it back, did you think you made the right choices, or did you feel, maybe I made the wrong decision here?
There were one or two that I think, were possibly borderline, but we had such a great 12 contestants in the end. Had a real mix of real characters, young people who were quiet to start with but came out of themselves, and it was a really tough decision to pick that final 12.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure the viewers already know the 12 candidates that have made it through, and of course for the next 9 weeks we will be following their journey, and today we will be speaking to the judges and some of the guests that have been involved with the show over the last few months. Moving on to Taj Chaudhry, who is also the MD of Channel S and of course the man behind the rock of the 3G Boss, you can say. How has it been for you, and why did you decide to be a part of this show?
Well, Channel S has been working with the young generation for many years. We had a bit of a gap in the last few years, and hopefully this is going to be one of our what's the word I'm looking for? Flagship program for the third and the fourth generation. British Bengali community has now moved on to fourth generation.
Yeah.
Although the program is called 3G, that reflects the generation there. But our estimate is about 30% of the people already formed the fourth generation. And obviously Channel S being a true British Bengali channel, it's about time that we reflect that.
And did you find lots of young British Bangladeshis did come forward for this show, or was it quite a struggle? How was it for you?
It was a struggle at the beginning. It took us almost 2 years.
Why do you think we still have this struggle?
I think it's again, our community is being a bit conservative. We're a bit kind of worried. Our kids coming home late, this and that, and in terms of parents. And we had to, the team behind the scene, led by Farhan, our producer, had to go through 17, 18 hours of hard work to get that, to making sure the kids are coming to the set and going back safely home. Communicating with the parents, even to go further as communicating with the parents to make sure the children have actually safely arrived at home.
Absolutely. Well, we will be speaking to you a bit later on. Moving across to this very well-known face, and when we say the 3G Boss, I'm sure everyone knows that smiley young man that represents the show. It is none other than Jahin Ahmed. Hello, welcome to the show. How does it feel to be on that side? Because you've been on this side all this time, actually. So you're the presenter, and also you've helped with creating the content of the 3G Boss. How has it been for you? So you've been working on it for 2 years now, and it's finally here. It's on the screens, everyone's happy. How does it feel?
Well, I must say it's been really great working with Channel S. It's been a roller coaster. I came in as a 15-year-old kid through the doors of Channel S, and I'm nearly hitting 18, going off to university.
No way.
Yeah, and
you're that old?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, and I'm nearly going to university.
By the way, just for the viewers, I call him my little man because you really are a little man.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's been really interesting working with Channel S. Like I said, I came here as a 15-year-old kid, wanted to do something for people my age. You know, I live in Tower Hamlets, one of the most deprived areas in the whole of London, and I see people turning to drugs and alcohol because they've got nothing else better to do with their time. So I thought, why not give them a platform where they can express their skills? So we came here with Channel S. I've been equipped with such a fantastic team with people like Kaz Uncle, Farhan Uncle, the producer, and they helped me.
Sound old.
Yeah, well, of course,
kidding.
I have my respect. Of course, they saw my idea and they made it into reality. You know, my small idea, they made it happen, and I think all credit is due to them. And the work they're doing in the community to help young people, inspire young people, is fantastic. And I can't wait for the next 9 weeks.
Have you felt quite inspired yourself?
Yes, I have. I think the contestants even inspired me. Like I look at them and think, oh, why can't I do that? Like, some things they can do, I can't do. So it's quite interesting.
Coming back to you, Howard. Now, we were watching the interviews. This episode was all about the interviews. Out of 30, we've selected 12 that are going through to obviously the show, the 3G Boss, and we'll be following their journey. Now, it must have been quite a difficult process. And you asked some ridiculous questions. You know, they were great. They were really good, but there were some that I found quite intriguing. What were with those questions? Who helped you, or did you just, you know, Google it?
It's a bit unfair, really, because for a lot of the young people involved in the show, this was the first interview they'd done.
Yeah.
And to do an interview on camera, and you can't see it on the show, but we had 8 cameras or 9 cameras.
Wow.
Around, and we had 2 cameras for each interview. So the production values on this show were amazing. I should say that, and you know, all credit to Channel S for putting that effort in. But those young people on camera, it's very difficult to answer those interview questions.
Yeah.
You do get, if you're interviewing a lot of people, and I've done it myself with work in Canary Wharf where we've been doing interviews, you do start to ask unusual questions just to try and make it a bit more interesting for the interviewer, but also to tease out whether people can think on their feet. Whether if you give them an interview question like, what if I dropped you in a desert island, which they're not prepared for, can they actually come up and articulate what they do? It's designed to test their ability to think for themselves and to be creative, and we got some really creative answers. Absolutely.
And actually, on that note, which interview would you say was your favourite or really stood out for you?
I would have to say that Lamisha, who tried to sell me 1.5 elastic bands for £75.
That was brilliant.
And wouldn't take no for an answer. One of the things you want to do in an interview is be memorable.
Yeah.
She was certainly memorable.
Are you going to buy that, or did you end up buying?
She could have probably sold me an elastic band for £75, yes.
Well, let's go check out that clip from Lamisa.
There is a rubber band.
Yes.
I want you to sell it to me.
Good morning, gentlemen. I see that you need a rubber band.
What do I need that for?
So can you write your name?
No.
Why not?
I mean, look at your office. It looks like a mess. You need to keep it as a tidy. I mean, that pen, that could go anywhere. You need to keep it on hand.
Okay, how much do you want for it?
Since it's just a pen, I'll charge you 20p.
I would sell it for £75, but however...
£75?
Yes.
Is this like the only one in the world?
Yes.
Not really, because they sell them in packs. So if the pack, I think they cost about £2 to £3.
£1. Just
£1 for the pen.
I would normally I would give him quite a bit more, right? But you're in need.
No, I'm not going to buy it for 75 quid. I might give you 1p for it. What?
1p? No, not happening. I'll give it £1 for it.
Absolutely loved the whoa, stop there.
She's got the gift of the gab, I'll say that for her. She's and you'll see, because obviously Namisha is one of the candidates that's gone through to the rest of the show. You'll see as the show goes on, she really does know how to turn it on in terms of selling things to people and talking. Yeah, she's a real character.
That was brilliant. How about yourself, Taj Chaudhry? What did you think? Which was your favourite interview? Because I'm sure you've watched the episode, some of it. What was your favourite parts?
Well, I think I'll have to watch few of them. I haven't actually spent too much time with the edit panel as much as Farhan and everyone else. But looking at that £75 one, you know, she's going to be one of the top salesperson in the UK. You know, selling a rubber band.
1.5.
Exactly.
Not one, not two,
No,
but
one and a half.
We tear one of them in half.
Positive attitude, and you need that when you're talking about the marketing.
But I run ad sales here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I must add one. I don't know if you're going to ask me that question. Bringing this show costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And obviously, without having corporate sponsorship like support from Howard, which totally was done by our concept creator, Mr. Zahin here. He himself went there and got Howard convinced to support this program. Without Canary Wharf support, as well as Simple Tool support, as well as our local sponsors, this obviously wouldn't have been possible, because obviously our television is based on advertising only. You know, we are not a subscription-based channel. And so, Howard, thank you, and of course, thank you to Simple Tool and all the other sponsors, and of course, you know, the big thank you goes to young man Zahin here. You know, I'm expecting one day, if we continue to get support like Canary Wharf's, you know, one day we'll see Zahin sitting with Howard as a judge.
Absolutely.
Moving on from,
I'm sure he will. Absolutely. And those of you at home watching today, and if you think you want to get involved, you can do that too. All you've got to do is go onto facebook.com/the3G Boss. You will get to interact with all the candidates that are here, and of course the judges here today on my grilling table at the moment. So if you want to help me and you want to ask some questions, you can send those messages in, and of course you can tweet in to Channel S too. Moving on to Zahin. So actually, as Taj Chaudhry was saying, that you could also potentially be a judge maybe in the future programs. How would you feel about being a judge at such a young age? And if you were to judge, what would you look for in the 3G Boss?
Well, funny thing is, being my age and the contestants were about a year younger than me, I think someone was actually older than me. So it felt quite weird that you got contestants older than you and you're the host. But sharing a platform with none other than Howard would be an absolute honour. I think Howard's, the stuff he does in the Bengali community and the stuff Canary Wharf do, they're a pillar in the community, and I think the work they do needs to be recognised. And 3G Boss is one of hundreds of projects they run for the community and for young people. So they're doing a great job, and I think sitting on the same table as Howard, I don't think I've reached that level yet, but it needs a bit more time.
So we'd actually like to know a bit about you. What are you doing? So we know you host this. Other than this, what do you do? So let's get to know the inner you, a bit of gossip.
Well, like I mentioned before, I was brought up in Tower Hamlets in East London. I am a sixth form student, hoping to go to university next September, and I'm just a normal 17-year-old boy. You'll see I'm nothing different than everyone else. You know, Taz Uncle will always brag me up for getting sponsors and stuff, but I think if you have a passion for something, it's possible. Like 3G Boss is my passion. I saw my friends going out playing football, PlayStation, and for me it was coming to Channel S, presenting shows, you know, getting sponsorships, working with the fantastic team here to develop 3G Boss.
Absolutely.
And of course, he's the son of our one of the respected councillor Ohid Bhai.
Yes,
Councillor Ohid.
of course. We can see
takes
Ohid Bhaiya
after
in
his
you
dad.
there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to, as I mentioned, the show is all about the aftermath of the 3G Boss. So when you do come onto this show, you will be grilled by the Nadia Ali. You have no choice but to go home being a bit burnt, should I say. So I'm going to be asking you guys some questions that you've asked. Oh no, that you've asked the candidates. So Howard, starting with you, you asked the question about £1 million, and one of the candidates said, actually, I don't need the £1 million, you know, I'd just leave it. I don't want it because you have to work hard for it. So you actually said to him, well, if you ever get £1 million, give it to me. So what would you do with £1 million?
Well, I think there are two really good investments right at the moment. If I had £1 million, I would probably buy, and this is not an advert for Canary Wharf, I'd probably buy 2 of the great flats that are for sale at Canary Wharf as we start residential development, or maybe look at property along the Crossrail line, because there may be a bit of a slowdown in the housing market coming up, but if you buy something around Crossrail comes on stream in 2 years, that's going to have a big impact on the properties around there. So Stratford, Abbey Wood, there's lots of good opportunities out there. Property for me would be what I'd do with £1 million as an investment.
Okay, good answer, thank you. And coming to you, my question to you would be...
Sorry, I should also say, I would also buy my wife a very large present.
Yes.
Had to be said.
That has to be
It's not impossible that she's watching tonight in Northern Ireland. So.
Yes, Howard has said this on live TV, so if he doesn't, do tweet us or Facebook us on 3G Boss. Moving across to Taj Chaudhry, my question to you would be, what are the 3 things that you would take with you if you were stranded on an island?
Oh my God.
Quite difficult.
I wish Farhan told me this before. I would have,
Well, actually, he didn't.
I would have
Even
Googled
you, I was
it.
going to ask these
I would
questions.
have asked Uncle Google about this. What would I take?
Think carefully, because just in case, you know, Bobby's watching at home as well. You take her with you, of course.
I don't know about that. You know,
Need someone to do all the work.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Should I let you think about that and I'll move on
Yeah,
to
I think you better go.
Jahin? Okay, I'll let you think
pass
about
on that one.
Moving on across to you, my question to you is, what is your dream job and why?
My dream job, firstly, is not to be Howard, but he does do a great job. I think my dream job will actually, it'll have to be something international, like a spy, or, you know, I know it's not going to happen, or like be going undercover, doing something like that, traveling around the world.
Like an FBI agent.
Like an FBI agent, you know.
Oh,
Like,
wicked.
I always saw.
No,
British
007 you mean?
Bengali, Austin Powers.
Yeah.
There you
Big
are.
Willie
Do
Austin
You've got the
Powers.
glasses for it.
I've got the glasses for it, haven't I? But yeah,
you want
nothing.
to do the pose as well?
No,
Ready?
you can do it afterwards, and
We'll do it together.
we'll do it together. Yeah. But yeah, something like that kind of, in that sense, like traveling around the world, you know, being something undercover, you know, like you're seeing what the world's all about, like you're in charge, you know, you've got a say in how the world runs. You can see the crime happening around the world. But on a more practical basis, I would like to get into, like how I said, the development agency, because I know in London there's a growing demand
There's
for
demand
development,
for it.
and you get into that, then you've got a good chance.
Coming back to you.
I think I'm going to pass on that
Are
question.
you sure? Oh, come on.
Nah.
Fine.
That just shows
So it's a $1 million question, and I can't answer that.
just shows you how difficult some of those questions were for those young
Absolutely.
people. And for some of them at the age of 14 or 15.
What did they answer?
Well, on the desert island, the best answer was, of course, a boat.
Okay.
Because then
Yeah.
you can, you know, get off
Yeah,
the desert
get
island.
off it.
But the people that said they were going to take record player, like a MP3 player, it's like, there's nowhere to plug it in.
Right.
How are you going to plug it in? You know, it just showed, some of them really had a great, very quick way of thinking about it. So
Brilliant.
very
Well,
impressive.
thank you so much for coming onto the show today, and I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm sure we will catch up with you in the next 9 weeks. Thank you very much, Howard Dober, Taj Chaudhry, and
you.
of course, Jahin Ahmed. Make sure you guys don't go anywhere, because we have so much more gossip for you here on Channel S right now, live till 10 o'clock. See you in a bit.
You're watching Channel S.
Welcome back to Behind the Boss. This is the place you want to be straight after the 3G Boss, because this is where the party's at. This is where we get to find out all the gossip behind the scenes, and of course we get to grill those that are grilling the kids. Coming on to my guest panel, I have 2 judges with me, and I also have the director of photography of the 3G Boss, Minhaj Kibriya. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Nadia.
So, director of photography, quite an important title. How was it for you?
Well, I thought I was a director. It was challenging. I mean, as you can see, the scale of the show. It's the biggest television production that I've done so far. I mean, I've done 2 movies in Bangladesh.
Yes.
But I've found 3G Boss to be really challenging, because so many things going on. We had so many tasks were taking place at the same time. So I had to deploy 3-4 different teams in 3-4 different directions.
Yes.
So that was quite sort of challenging, and yeah, the whole experience was brilliant. We had some great results from the shows.
How was it working with, because the young adults, should I say, that were a part of the show, they were all aged 14 to 18. How was it working with them, trying to control them, when, you know, I'm sure many of them have had no media exposure. So to actually get them to talk into the camera, or ask them to look a certain way, dress a certain way, which is very important for a show like the 3G Boss, or any show for that matter on TV. How was it directing them?
They were absolutely natural. I mean, these kids can go on to any big budget production and get away acting or on a television show talking or anywhere.
Yeah.
They're so confident. So it wasn't hard at all to direct them. They were ready, basically. Just turn on the camera and away they go.
Yeah. And moving across now to Dr. Sanwar Chaudhary, a very well-known face on our TV channel, and of course he is a successful businessman and an entrepreneur and also a judge for the 3G Boss. Welcome to Behind the Boss. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Nadia.
Boss man himself on Behind the Boss, should I say. How was it for you being a judge?
It was fun. I was amazed by the talent that we have in our community. I mean, these are kids between 14 and 16, and what they demonstrated throughout the number of weeks that we were with them was unbelievable, beyond what I could have imagined.
Absolutely. And did you find any challenges that you thought, you know, you weren't expecting, but you had to face those challenges? Because I'm sure you've been part of the show for the last 3-4 months, or has it been longer? Was it longer than that?
Roughly about that time.
About 3-4 months. So what was the biggest challenge that you had to face?
I think it was a very long day. We started at 6, finished at about 10 o'clock at night. So it was a very long 12 to 14-hour days, which took out a lot out of the contestants as well, because they were very young kids, had done full week at school, and then having to come Saturday morning so early, and then be performed to the best of their ability was quite challenging for them. We just stood around watching them do most of the work. So for us, it was much easier, but again, quite a long day.
Yes, I can imagine. Long hours of shooting, but you know, that's a part of the game. You have to be a part of it.
It was worthwhile. It was a lot of fun.
Worthwhile. Moving on to the beautiful Kohinoor Kabir, who is a recruiter, a head of recruitment once, I think, and now a judge on the 3G Boss. Welcome.
Thank you.
To Behind the Boss. How are you?
I'm very well.
How did it feel to, you know, have such empowerment over these kids?
Oh my God. Look, it was an incredible experience. The great thing about this show is that you've got so many young people from so many different types of backgrounds, and they've come together for one purpose, and that's to win the show. So we've seen them grow throughout the episodes, and I think for me the best part is some of them realise their own potential, you know. I mean, it's about discovering yourself, and I think some adults can't even do that. You know, we're at a stage where we're trying to figure ourselves out, but you know, these young people throughout the episodes manage to do that as well.
And it's just about watching them grow, basically.
Absolutely.
Have you seen them? What's I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can't name the candidates, but is there a certain person, without naming them, that you've seen really grow, and if so, how, who?
Well, I'm not going to say
who. Sorry, yes, how.
I'm not going to say
I'll
who.
be naughty there.
But there is one person that comes to mind, and they, you know, when they initially came onto the show, if I'm honest with you, you know, I probably wouldn't have remembered them. But as the shows went on, this person honestly grew, they became confident, and they really, you know, they really shone. So it's really, really, really amazing to see that progress.
And we will be watching them as well for the next 9 weeks. Don't forget, you can catch the 3G Boss every Saturday from 8 till 9 p.m. and straight after, of course, you have Behind the Boss, where we will be grilling those candidates and of course the judges and some special guests. If you have any questions or you want to get involved with Behind the Boss, you can do that. All you've got to do is go onto facebook.com/the 3G Boss UK, and you can leave your messages, and of course we will get back to you. And of course, if you have any questions for the judges or the candidates themselves, do send them in, and of course you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram for Channel S. Coming back to Kibria, sorry, I'll come to you first. Now, recruiting all these young adults, when I was speaking to Taj Chaudhary, he said it was quite challenging. How did you manage that? How did you manage to get the 30 candidates? Was it very difficult, and do you think it's going to change next time?
Well, that particular party is looked after by Farhan Masood himself. So they've been working on the recruitment side of it for a very long time, and they managed to bring some very talented people from the community. And I mean, you saw this episode. If you see other episodes, then you realize how smart these young adults, young people are. It's just amazing. So thumbs up to Farhan for that.
For all the hard work,
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely.
Those of you that don't know, Farhad Masud Khan does work behind the scenes, and of course he's been producing this show, who works absolutely hard, and yes, he has paid me to say this statement. Moving across, I'm only kidding, moving across to Sanra Chaudhry, what has been your favourite interview? Because I've asked Howard the same thing, and I'll be asking you as well, Kohinoor, to start thinking. What's been your favourite interview, or an interview that really stood out for you?
I think some of the questions that I asked was out of the box, and some of the answers I got were amazing. So,
one of the questions you actually asked, I have to say this, you asked about the qualities of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse, where did that come from?
Well, it's a well-known cartoon character, and I wanted to see whether candidates could actually see those qualities and see if any of them are displayed within themselves.
Right.
But I think the giraffe question really got people thinking quite a bit, because how do you do it? I mean, it's a very quirky question, and some of the answers that came up, I think Mahima gave a fantastic answer, which we really enjoyed.
Well, let's go check it out. Let's go and see Mahiba's answer to the giraffe question.
How would you fit a giraffe into a fridge?
Does it have to be like dead?
It's up to you. Up to you. You tell me.
I wouldn't describe it as a failure really, but I would say that, for example, in school, my target level hasn't been achieved. Probably first I would like to shave its skin off because that would just take most of the mass, like.
So you would have killed the giraffe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like shove it in the fridge.
Not too sure how I feel about that. It's quite scary. I'd kill the giraffe and then shove it in the fridge. Okay, well, everyone to their own. Coming to you, Kohinoor, what's been your favourite interview so far, or the one that stood out for you?
I think the one that stood out for me is probably with Talal.
Right.
Probably for the wrong reasons, to be honest.
Let's hear this.
Well, in an interview, it takes 30 seconds to really get someone's attention.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to have 3 minutes where they're being quite punchy, they're getting to the point. And the last 30 seconds is really them closing.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he went on for, but I got lost throughout it. It was, I think it probably went on for about 15 minutes, and I completely lost. Yeah, I had to stop.
Well, let's go check out his interview and how Kohinoor got lost in the answer.
How do you define success and how do you measure it?
Well, I personally believe that. So when you reach a goal, you but in the next step. So.
But my question was, give me an example of where you've been successful.
Okay. Oh, sorry. This year in. Well, I'll get onto that. Okay.
Thank you. I'm just conscious of time.
Right, Talha, I think you and I will have to have words, because that's probably me in an interview, I'm not too sure. Coming to the director of the show, Minhaj Kibriya, my question to you, now you've worked very closely with the young children and obviously directing this show over the last few months, you've seen these children grow. How do you think the show has affected their life, or how do you think this will change their lives?
I think during the process of the show, I'm sure they have become more confident, and they see things more seriously than they probably used to.
Yeah.
As what I reckon. Because going through what I witnessed, going through each task, they have to sort of prove themselves in every single episode, every single part. So it should have an impact on them personally and as well as professionally. And in their education as well. So I think they'll take life more seriously. Yeah. That's what I reckon.
And I'm sure they've picked up lots of skills, even from the interviews itself. Those that didn't make it through, we wish them the best of luck. But those that didn't make it through, I'm sure they've picked up lots of skills from just the interview itself. You know, it's got them ready for the next part of their life. Right. What I'm going to do is, you are on, you know, Behind the Boss with Nadia Ali, and you know what's going to happen here. I grill you. This is my time to grill you guys, because this is what the audience love to see, and I'm sure the candidates are absolutely loving this at home right now. So you guys got them to sell items, right? I wish Howard was here right now. I'd give him a rubber band to sell to me. But however, I had to go through my bag, and typical, because I'm doing a show, I could only find makeup and perfume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys an item. I'll give you this, because I think this colour will suit you. I will give you this brush, because I'm not too sure if you know what to do with this. And God, you know, you get a bit of Dior there for you. Right. I will give you literally 30 seconds to think about how you're going to sell this to me, and I will time you. So I'm going to put my timer on right now, and I'm going to time you guys, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds each to sell the product to me. So start thinking, and I'm going to speak to my viewers at home while they sweat away a little bit. Just to remind you that this will be going on for the next 9 weeks, and you can get in touch. You can be a part of the show. All you've got to do is follow us on facebook.com/the3GBossUK. Leave your comments, hit the like button, and let us know what you think of the show. And of course, show your support. Who's your favourite candidate? Who's your favourite boss? Who do you want to see get fired or hired? And let us know. And those of you that don't know what's happening, what they're going to win, just to let you know, 12 candidates have made it through after today's episode. And at the end of it, after 9 weeks, 1 candidate will be made the 3G Boss 2015, who will win an apprenticeship with the Canary Wharf Group, a paid apprenticeship, should I say. Get in touch, let us know, and of course follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Now, coming back to you guys in my hot seat today. How you feeling? Ready for this? You're never coming back, are you? Are you ready? Oh, wow, he's ready. Okay. Well, Minhaj Kibriya, of course, he's the director of this show, but he's also an actor, a singer, a dancer, everything you can think of, all in one, basically, one package. So I think this should be no, you know, hard task for you.
I'll try, miss.
Right.
Stop.
You have 30 seconds starting now. There's your camera.
Okay. Well, Nadia, as you can see, this is MAC lipstick. The lipstick that you're wearing, I think it's quite cheap, and one of those regular lipstick you're wearing. You use this. There will be no side reaction. There will be no side effect. It's not testing on animals. It's testing real people. As you can see, let me just show you.
Oh God! He's actually put the lipstick on him.
Yeah. As you can see, no side effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, good. So this is lipstick that you want, not that cheap lipstick that you want.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Firstly, we've got to give you a clap for actually putting the lipstick on Sanwa Chaudhary. I think I'm going to have to give this back to his wife now. So there you are. And I don't know if you've sold it to me for saying I'm wearing cheap lipstick, but I have to say that was very, very good. So high five for that. Well done. There you are. Right, moving across to you, Mr. Sanwa Chaudhary. Would you like to top up before we start?
No, that's fine.
Are you sure? Yeah. Do you want to do a pout into the camera so they can see your lips? You know, and of course, we know you as the selfie king. So, you know, so imagine this is your camera. Do us a little pout selfie in the camera. Ready? There we are.
Oh my God.
Right, starting with you, you have a brush. I'm not going to tell you what kind of a brush it is, but I want you to sell that brush to me. And your time starts now, 30 seconds.
Nadia, you haven't seen anything like this. This is made of real camel hair, and it's really soft in the skin. Look, you see, you can actually brush it on in all different directions, under the nose, below, and into the ears as well.
Oh, great.
Brilliant,
Right.
and it's very cheap, 25 pence, fits conveniently in your bag, made in China.
Absolutely. Thank you. You've done that in 24 seconds. Well done. Now, firstly, I really should not have gone through my bag and got my own makeup out and given this to you. So we're really going to have to watch that brush. And it was not 25 pence, just to let you know. But if it was, I'll definitely buy that. Thank you very much. Moving across to you, Kohinoor, you have a lot on your hands. These men have really done well, I have to say. They've done brilliant. Wait, before you start, let's do the timer. Ready? Your time starts now.
Well, Nadia, I can see that you really like this perfume because it's empty, right? So I really think you need to buy another one, okay? No, look, this perfume is obviously your favourite perfume. You use it all the time. You smell lovely today, by the way. And it is hypnotic, as it says. So I think you should really buy it because you've run out and you need to smell nice. You're a host.
Thanks. Let's just smell myself. Thankfully, I smell quite good because it is towards the end of its lifeline. Thank you so much. That was 31 seconds.
There's nothing in here.
There's still some.
You need to buy another one.
Okay, right. I think that's a hint for Channel S. I need a new perfume, by the way. Thank you so much. I don't know who the winner is. I think you're all winners in my eyes. But I'll tell you what, I'll let the viewers decide, and maybe next week they can send us some messages and let us know who you thought the winner was, whether it was Minhaj Kibriya, whether it was Sanwar Chaudhry, or whether it was Kohinoor Kabir. And you can let us know on facebook.com/the3G Boss UK. And of course, we are coming towards the end of today's show, but I want to know what's happening next week. It was a rollercoaster event today. 30 candidates and only 12 were selected. The judges have announced that next week they'll be working in a restaurant environment. And out of that, one candidate will be eliminated. Let's go check out next week's episode.
Chocolate! Bro!
Would you like to buy any of those?
Maybe we can exchange?
Lots of feedback on.
Is it alcohol?
No, it's not alcohol.
Where is the project manager?
Says 150, she tells me 200.
Come on, guys. 10% off. Probably better than the girl.
Next week, 12 contestants will be running 2 restaurants. Shopping. Cooking. Taking orders. Customer service. And making profit. These contestants will demonstrate their business acumen. But they will also be confused, excited, tired, and fail. At least one will be leaving the contest.
Like I said, this is very difficult, but the person that I've decided is going to stay in the competition. So this is a very difficult decision.
Exciting stuff. God, that's all next week here on Channel S. Before I say goodbye to you guys, what word of advice would you like to say? Words of advice would you like to give to these candidates that have made it through? So I'll start with the director himself.
Well, I wish them all the best in their life. I hope the show has really helped them to realize their own potential. So, yep, all the best.
And how about you?
I
the lipstick looks great on you, by the way, just to let you know. That's really your colour.
It falls on the skin, doesn't it?
That is really your colour.
Yeah? Okay. I might buy some, actually. My wife's here. I think the transformation that took place during the interviews and what they took on board, I think that's what they will use. And it would be really good to see how the boys in a restaurant environment do against the girls, because you'd think naturally one would be much more suited to that environment than the other. So it'd be interesting to see how they go about doing this.
Excited. How about you, Kohinoor?
I think, look, they've obviously we've seen them grow throughout the episodes. I think what they can take away from this is whatever they've learnt on the show, they're going to take, they're going to take that with them into their careers. I think it's going to definitely help them outside of the show.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'd say is continue believing in yourself. That's key.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on to Behind the Boss. And of course, I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys a lot more in the next 9 weeks. We have our judges and our director. Thank you very much. Of course, it is time for me to say goodbye. This was a live show for you guys, Behind the Boss. And I'll be coming here every week for the next 9 weeks with you guys to entertain you with behind the scenes of the 3G Boss UK from 9 till 10 o'clock every Saturday. Don't forget, you can catch the show itself on YouTube if you want to. Of course, just do a search and you can find it. And don't forget, you can follow what's happening with the candidates and the judges, or what's coming up on the 3G Boss via Facebook. All you've got to do is go onto facebook.com/the 3G Boss UK. So go there and hit the like button if you thought today's show was great. But thank you so much for being with us, and I'll see you next week.